everybody. I just heard him ask how your IGN Live was going, so I won't waste your time asking you again. But is it going well? Great. Great. How many of us are into spooky TV shows? There we go. There we go. All right. Well, let's get going. AMC's The Terror is wrapping up its third season later this week. Here to talk to us about the season finale, and working on anthology shows and also demons ripping off their own faces. It's executive producer and showrunner of The Terror, Chris Cantwell. Chris. Come give me a hug.
Hi.
Hi. That's what happens when you make a scary TV shows. You're just scared all the time. You need hugs.
Well, yeah, I just need hugs a lot. I mean, it's more of, I'm a writer, so I need validation, so I want to be hugged and told by an external source that I'm okay and that I'm worth something.
You're doing good work.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. But I shouldn't need that. This is what my therapist says. I shouldn't need you to, I appreciate it.
Okay.
But I shouldn't need you to tell me I should be okay when I wake up in the morning before I get here on stage.
Thank you would have been fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about some issues we're facing as a society.
Okay. I love those. That's a fun thing to do on a Saturday. Where should we start?
Let's start with your show, The Terror.
Okay. That's definitely an issue facing society,
is
that show.
So this, like I said, it is an anthology show.
Yes.
None of the seasons have anything to do with the other one narratively.
Correct. If you loved the first two seasons, I can't help you.
Go watch them again.
Because it's a completely different show.
Yeah. So what was it about Devil in Silver and about the book that it's based on that you felt would be a good entry into this series?
Well, I think actually, one, what's interesting about The Devil in Silver, and I will connect it to the other two seasons for you guys, which is that in those seasons, if you've seen them, there are characters who are trapped in some kind of contained place, whether it be a ship that is locked in Arctic ice in the first season, or a Japanese internment camp during World War II, and they are in there, or they are in that kind of compromised situation with something hellish that is preying upon them. This is exactly that. So this book, written by Victor LaValle, who is my partner on this and a genius, the show is set in a behavioral unit in Queens, New York. But everybody inside is stuck there, right? But very realistically, in that people have forgotten them, their families, their friends, whoever, the staff need this job, and there is something in this behavioral unit that is even worse, that is preying upon them. So in that way, it connects to The Terror, and it makes sense. If you read Victor's book, which you should, it's wonderful, it ties in very well, I think, with the whole idea of The Terror.
Yeah. And one of the things you mentioned in the middle there, you're talking about realistically speaking. And that is one of the things that I think, there's something that's at the core of every really effective horror, is there's some amount of realism that you can connect to. No matter what the paranormal thing is, the entity, the ghost, the demon, whatever, there's got to be some sort of realism that you're anchored to that actually makes it scary.
Yes.
So in this instance, for this show, for this season, what was that for you? What was the reality you were anchored to for this?
Well, I think that I will say that the book is very personal for Victor for various reasons. It's also, we tried to do something that is not, I love this movie, but it's not Shutter Island. It's not even One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. We get to know every patient. Every patient had it's not explicitly said out loud, but every patient and every actor had a real diagnosis to play, or a comorbidity in terms of their psychiatric or neurodivergence that they're dealing with, right? The staff, you see things like this and you're like, oh, the evil staff. And you might get a flavor of that in the first episode, but then you realize they just got a job to do. And this is where it feels like today, where it's like you wake up every day into some sort of nightmare, and then you gotta go make breakfast for your kid, and you gotta pay the electric bill, and you gotta do this thing, and you gotta get your hours so you can get your residency and get out of the neighborhood you're dying to get out of, right, and escape from. All of those pieces, that kind of the mundane quality of it, that freaked me out the most, out of more than the supernatural stuff in the show. It was the endurance that the characters have to continue to put forward. That that scared the shit out of me. You know what I mean? Because it scares the shit out of me in my real life.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
and just to sort of, in going back and looking at the beginning, how it all started, like it basically starts with more or less an accident.
Yeah.
Like it's the weird set of circumstances that Dan Stevens' character Pepper gets shoved into this hospital.
Yep.
Completely out of his control.
Yes.
But then here he is stuck, and it's obviously difficult, ruining his life levels of
right.
terror.
And then all of a sudden, and then as the show goes on, because now we're 5 episodes into the show at this point, right? Finale's coming out next week. Is Pepper, I think, and again, this isn't explicit, but he's starting to wonder, I think he actually asked himself in the first episode, should I be here? And Dr. Anand, who's played by Asif Manvi, who is one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life. He doesn't get as much chance to be funny in this, but he has a line in the first episode of most people go their whole lives without benefiting from psychiatric care. And you think it's just some bureaucrat doctor who's just throwing that out. But it's also true, right? And I think Pepper, by our finale, realizes he has a ton to work on in terms of himself and his mind and his heart, right? He's told himself a story of who he is for his whole life, when really he's been quite selfish and he's not lived up to that ideal in his own head. And this horrible crucible that he goes through in the course of this series, it opens his eyes and it opens his heart in a way that I think makes him go from selfish to selfless. I prepped that in the car, that last part, when I was coming over that soundbite. I thought, did it work?
It worked great.
Okay,
It was good for you guys?
We could do it again, but okay.
Do we need one more?
Okay, no, if you like it, I like it. If you like it, I like it. Okay.
Yeah, we're happy.
Okay.
But you mentioned humor in there a little bit too. One of the not getting much of a chance to be humor, but there is a sneaky amount of humor in this.
Yeah, I think it's funny.
And I think as I was watching the first episode, I think I was texting you live while I was like, dude, what the hell is this first scene? Because if you've seen the show, the show opens with them trying to get a dead body out of a door and it won't fit, and it's funny.
Yes, they have to.
And it's gross.
It's gross, and it's a scene that opens the show, and it's a patient that they discover who is dead, and the patient is also rapidly riggered, and so the staff has to get the body off the unit before anybody freaks out, and they have to break the arms and legs of the riggered patient to get it out the door. This is from the sick mind of Victor LaValle, who wrote that episode and the book, but that comes from an article Victor read as he was developing this show, where this actually happened in a hospital in New York City, where a person passed away in a room and they didn't check on the person in the appointed amount of time they're supposed to check on them. And so to get the person out of the room, they had to do that exact thing. So you talk about grounded in reality. Those are the things that defy truth, but it's real. I mean, the thing we talk about in the show is that the terror of the third season is the American healthcare system, right? Like the devil is even afraid of the American healthcare system in this one, right? Yes, exactly.
No, yeah, please, go ahead.
See? But yeah, that was real, which is...
Well, and in terms of kicking off the season with that, to what degree does that balance of horror and a little bit of comedy, how much of that, how intentional is that moment in terms of setting a tone for the entire season?
I think it's really important because it's a horror series, right? It's not even a horror movie, right? So it's not 90 minutes where you're like, oh, I just got to grin and bear it through this and I'm going to white knuckle in my seat and get through this tremendous, terrifying thing. We got 6 hours to sustain, so we don't want people just going, oh, God, and running and dying for that amount of time, because I think everybody would get...
And then you wait a week and you go, oh, God.
Exactly, and you keep going. People have a chance to turn this off, and they got to come back to it. So you want to actually, in spite of this place, and in spite of how tough this hospital is, I think we tried to pull off the magic trick of really falling in love with the people, and you come to care about them, and they're people that, even though they're in a psych ward in Queens, they're human beings that you come to understand and see yourself in, see someone you love in, laugh with, right? And so you want to return to them kind of like a family. And it gives them a family too, because their real families have totally forgotten them.
And I am legitimately upset with what happened to Coffee, but we won't talk about that. So let's jump from the first episode of the season all the way to the last. You brought a clip.
I did. I brought a clip.
Should we watch
I've never brought a clip to something before, but I brought a clip.
How exciting is it to bring a clip?
Is it what?
How exciting is it to bring a clip?
I brought it. It's really exciting. It's a clip. It's not the whole thing. It's just a clip.
It's just a clip?
Just a clip.
You won't be here
no
for the
one's
whole
seen
hour.
this clip. No one's seen this clip yet. So this is can I say exclusive clip?
No.
No.
That's a dangerous thing to say in our business.
Where the IGN lawyers come out because I said exclusive clip? Okay, well, I just a clip.
He brought a clip. Let's watch the clip.
That's the clip.
This place used to be such good eating. But I saw the writing on the wall long ago. It couldn't last. Dr. Walter and I, we were going to do such great things out there in the world together. And now this place will be closed in a week if the storm doesn't tear it all down first. And I don't plan to be left here alone. No one wants to starve. It's hard working with me. It takes a lot out of a person. My old friend out there, he's tired. He won't last, but you're vital. You're strong, full of endless anger. Like I said, I could use a man like you. Now the moment you say yes, I'll spare your boy. The young girl. Everyone. And if I don't, well then, we'll need to correct your thinking. The more you refuse me, the worse it gets. How many of them have to die before you give me what I want?
Okay.
Yeah. You see how funny that is?
It's so funny.
It's
I'm
hilarious.
glad we talked about comedy for as much
I
as we
know,
did.
exactly. This is so funny.
No, but so about this clip. This is from the season finale.
Yes.
Why'd you pick this one?
This one is, so Victor and I, when we worked on this, and with our executive producer, Karyn Kusama, who did a wonderful horror movie called The Invitation, which if you haven't seen, you should check that out. We building this story about Pepper. Pepper is a guy, and I think an emphasis on guy, who thinks he can punch his way out of a lot of problems, right? And he's literally punching the devil, and this is someone who is really just a vessel, right? The entity in this story takes the form of people who have passed through the hallways of this hospital over the course of decades. What Pepper realizes, and I think this is a moment of punctuation for him, is he's not going to be able to punch his way out of this problem, right? He's not going to be able to fight his way out. Even the entity, this devil, is telling him that he is so full of anger. And in this moment, you see it, right? But underneath that anger is a lot of displacement. If we go back to my therapist for a second, right? Well, you see, and this is also a testament to Dan Stevens, who I hope you're all a fan of, because he's amazing in things like Legion and Downton Abbey and The Guest. He's an incredible actor. He's weeping in this scene as he's being held in place by this force on top of him. And we didn't ask Dan to do that. We didn't call for it. He just did it every take, which was amazing, because this thing has his number and is able to say, I see you, and you can help me. We can work together. And that, to me, is very terrifying when an evil looks at you, and rather than want to destroy you, we see you as an adversary, says, hey, you're kind of like me. Why don't we be buddies? And I think that's a very scary thing to think about as a person, where you're like, well, wait, how corrupt am I inside? How compromised? How willing am I to do the wrong thing in order to save my own ass, right?
Oh man, the devil thinks I'm cool.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Oh no, the devil thinks I'm cool. Sure. This is bad news for me. Yeah.
And from a design and effects perspective, the face melting.
Yes.
The eyes slowly drooping, the teeth, and then this face rip here.
Yes.
Talk about the process of
face rip.
the face rip. Yeah,
Give me the face rip. I'll walk you through the steps of the face rip. So again, what I'm saying, so this guy, Dr. Walter, is somebody who was a doctor in the hospital years ago who performed a lot of, if those tools on the table, does anybody know what those tools are used for? Lobotomies. I got a whole room to go, lobotomy. That's great.
You guys really came to the right room.
Lobotomies. Is this the lobotomy panel? Great. So Dr. Walter, who is also based on somebody real from the East Coast, Dr. Walter did hundreds of lobotomies. In real life, the actual doctor did thousands of lobotomies. We didn't even want to say that in the show because it felt arch.
Yeah, that's
right. Where people go, like my dad goes, thousands of lobotomies. And that's actually
was that in an early draft of the script? And you got a note, be like, don't make up numbers.
Yeah, where AMC was like, this doesn't feel real, and you got to be like, actually. That it is true that, but the real Dr. Walter, or the person we're kind of basing this on in terms of amalgamation of different people in history, right? He did these things, but the devil saw him first and went, I like you, right? Didn't work out for Dr. Walter, and so now we see Dr. Walter, he's always kind of feels like he's a mess and he's falling apart because this entity is like starving inside this place because there's not enough people in agony and pain to feed on, right? Because the system is already doing that for the devil, right? The American healthcare system, as I go back to, right? So Dr. Walter is this kind of mess, and so it's a combination of visual effects, right? And then there's a stunt actor who, you will see it if you watch the show next week. You do get to see briefly what is underneath that and what Pepper is screaming at, because he is literally looking into the face of evil, and we built that practically, because it just feels right to do that with horror, right? You want to actually see it and feel it and watch it drip and be goopy and not be afraid to touch it or look at it, and so we did that. So it's a combination of both. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Chris, did I forget to ask you anything?
Shit.
I'm always curious. I do want to, I feel like we know each other well enough to where I can say, from my side of things, I always want to ask a question that nobody's asked you before.
Okay.
And that's the big challenge. Is there a question, is there something about this show that you've been wanting people to ask about that hasn't shown up yet?
I mean, I would say Victor and I were watching this thing being shot, right? And you're there every day. We shot this in New York. We shot it in an abandoned prison on Staten Island. And we're watching the tumult of the world like we all do on our phones every day. And ask me how relevant this show is to right now.
How relevant is this show to right now?
I think very relevant, Clint. In that, well, I don't know. We can keep going. I mean,
Sure.
Yeah. No, you go.
Want me to, I thought of something else.
Okay.
Because you mentioned the building.
Yeah. Do it.
That was a real spooky place that you shot this thing in, right?
Yes.
How spooky was that place in real life?
So when we went into this place, it was built in 1965, and it was originally an infirmary that was for rehabbing veterans coming back from the Vietnam War who were injured in war. So that alone, you're like, wow, right?
Already, yeah.
Then the city bought it, and they turned it into, or the state bought it, and they turned it into a penitentiary. It was called Arthur Kill Correctional Facility. Kill is a Scandinavian last name, but it's also kill.
It's the word kill.
It's the word kill.
It's a verb.
And so there's decades of this place operating as a prison up until the early 2000s. That stuff gets in the wall, man. You can feel like the kind of psychic energy of a place like that, right? And I think that's what, it's important for this show. The first thing we had to do with the production designer is go in, and she had to bring it up and cheer it up a little bit.
Too sad.
It was too messed up to be inside, so she had to make it brand new, and then we had to take it down to the right level of decrepit and peeling away at the edges, and New York can no longer pay for this, and Giuliani cuts that, and this person cuts that, and Bloomberg cuts this, and then all of a sudden you're with, But if you went in and shot in the place as it actually was, you wouldn't want to turn the show back on. Do you know what I mean?
It would have been that nonstop screaming for the whole.
Exactly,
the whole thing.
and it's the cast also to be in a place like that as opposed to a sound stage, right, where you can step off, and there's donuts, and there's all this warm food, and you can get on your phone, and there's 5G and all that. The cast, we're all in there together, and so you're just kind of soaking that in, and so it becomes kind of a chamber piece, right? It becomes a play, and I think it helped the ensemble, who was already incredible, really get into the vibe of what it's like to just be stuck in a place like this and really live it. I think comes across on the screen.
It does. It shows.
Well, that's good.
I would agree.
I was wondering about that. Yeah.
Well, you guys should all go double check for yourselves. The Terror wraps up Devil in Silver on June 11th, I believe.
Yeah, next week, and then you can spend the whole summer, or whatever, not the whole summer, don't do it, but I would say at any time in the summer, you can watch the whole thing. Just watch it all at once if that's your vibe,
Sure.
right? You can do it all. It's only six episodes, so it feels like a really fun
Whatever the
mini-series.
longest amount of time you can scream all in one go. That's
exactly.
how much
Just
you should watch it
Put
one
it
time.
all together and just do it. Start at 9 a.m. and just see what happens to you. It'd be interesting, and then let us know. And then if
let us know in the comments. What happens to you?
what happened to you?
Chris, thanks so much for being here, man.
Thank you for having me.
Great, and thank you for watching. We got more IGN Live coming up. Everybody stick around.
All right.
We did it.